After starting this channel, I've come across quite a few Christian social media accounts that I think that are really, really good, really, really quality. And I think that they've really come a long way. Before, a lot of the posts used to look like church marketing or just a Bible verse or a sermon clip. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there was never anything really creative or personal through that kind of content. Thankfully, things have changed and people have become a lot more innovative and creative. And I've seen a lot of this content that it impacted me in such a personal way or a creative way where they think outside the box a little bit, or they share a story that really connects deeply. So I wanted to highlight them for you because I think they're worth following and I think they'll really mature you in your relationship with God. So in no particular order, I'm going to start with Mighty Pursuit. So this first one, it's a really interesting one. Oftentimes, they'll take this really interesting quote from a celebrity that speaks about a universal truth and that we can all relate to, but then brings it back to faith and talks about God in this way that asks you to think deeper. Also, he interviews these really interesting people on his podcast, and the really interesting topics. They can go from sex or eternity or the afterlife or fame, all these different things. And it's really broad. And at first glance, you wouldn't think that it's necessarily a Christian social media account, but if you look a little bit deeper, you'll be able to tell. Another thing that's interesting with this account is that they bring in a lot of facts and data, so it backs up a lot of the claims that they make. Next one I wanted to highlight is Stream Studios. This one has some really cool interviews with people and they just share about their relationship with God in a personal way. So they're not really preaching at you, but just really giving their testimony. And I think this one's really powerful because the way that they share is really real. They don't kind of sugarcoat things as they share. I like this one because they're not really trying to convince you or trying to preach at you, but really just sharing their life in a personal way. And I think that a lot of the examples they give or the stories that they share connect with you kind of on a heart level, or that you can relate to what they're saying because you probably have gone through similar things or similar struggles that they have in these stories. The next one's Anthony Gurolla. I think I'm saying that right. Maybe I'm not, but this guy is just this really innovative artist, and he really expresses a message through his illustrations. When you look at his illustrations, you'll see that it's portraying a message. It's trying to tell us something, but at the same time, it's connecting to these biblical truths at the same time. Plus, on top of that, they just look good. So that's another plus. What I think he does really well is capture these raw moments. And when I look at his illustrations, I just think like, wow, that speaks to me. Next one is called Reclaim Today. And this one I like because a lot of the videos and posts are about this daily walk with Jesus. And I think a lot of times we talk about how we don't want to be Sunday Christians and just focus on, the service and things like this. But I think this social media account is the only one that's really thinking outside the box and doing things differently and asking you to journey with God every day in the mundane things even. So there's like prayers about playfulness or washing dishes, about feeling lonely, all these kind of different prayers that they modeled for us to just think about, as we live our day-to-day lives. How are we bringing that to God? How are we inviting Jesus into those moments? So I really like this account because it really invites God and Jesus into these mundane moments in our life. And it's really modeling what that could look like for us. The next one that I really like is this one called YMI Today. And this one's just really cute. Like the graphics are cute. It's like this cartoon kind of vibe. They ask these interesting questions like, if God walked through the garden of your heart, what would he gently prune? And we go through all these different scriptures that would answer the question that it posed in the very beginning, but use really cool graphics and storytelling to kind of get the point across. I think YMI Today partners with Our Daily Bread in Singapore, so it's pretty cool that this content's from Singapore and that we're able to kind of like see what God's doing over there. Okay, the last one, and this one's not really, they do have a social media account, but I think their YouTube channels, like where they are able to explain a lot more and teach a lot more. And this last one's Bible Project. This one's really good because they don't just spit out Bible verses and then expect that you would to understand, but they really help teach you and give historical context and explain a lot of the words that you might not know, or different concepts that you might not know as well. And I really think that they've done a really good job of explaining biblical history and biblical cultures that have enriched my journey in reading the Bible and helped me understand the Bible better. And they do it in a way that's so simple and that most people are able to understand. All right, so that's my list. Hopefully that there's some that are new to you. If there's some that I'm missing, just let me know. I would love to kind of discover new ones that I think that are really good or that can really help me in my journey with God as well. So hopefully we can find some more good Christian content in the future.